Chapter 603. Miss Jian, since you asked directly, then we won't beat around the bush. It's impossible for us to admit the engagement between you and Hu Liancheng. But we are not unreasonable people. A man like Hu Liancheng is indeed very likable to a young lady. You love him very much. We can all understand. So, as long as you sign the divorce agreement and agree to divorce, we will still allow you to be with Hu Liancheng. Mo Fangfang's words were like a clap of thunder. Xian Yun thought that she had misheard. She suddenly lifted her eyes and surprise flashed in her eyes that had always been calm, like an ancient well. What does Madame Liao mean? That's what you think. Mu Feiangsong's face revealed a slight embarrassment. With her status as a general's wife, this matter was indeed very embarrassing, but there was nothing she could do. Looking at the entire Liao family, other than those juniors who were not suitable to speak about this matter, only she was the only one. Her surname was Mu. Xian Yun's eyelids fiercely trembled. She could endure it any longer. At this moment, her heart could no longer remain calm. Her tone suddenly became sharp and sharp. She did not conceal her ridicule at all. So, the reason why you called me here today is to tell me that you have been exceptionally kind and have agreed to let me be Hu Liancheng's second wife? You? What kind of attitude is this? Liao Keiyu's eyebrows were vertical. She was angry that Jian Yun actually dared to scold Mu Fangfang in front of her face. She immediately spoke rudely. Don't look at your own background. Not only do you have no status, your appearance is also not the slightest bit inferior to my cousin. Also, your reputation is already bad now. Your news and gossip are everywhere. We made you a second wife because we gave you face. Don't be shameless. Being humiliated in front of her face again, Xian Yun was extremely angry, but on the surface she was abnormally calm. She coldly looked at Liao Keiyu, whose nose was facing the sky, and suddenly smiled. So it turns out that the young lady raised by the self-proclaimed noble Liao family is only so-so. You? What do you mean? Liao Keiyu did not expect Jian Yun to actually dare to scold her, and was instantly angered. She immediately stood up. Noble. Never just talk about it. Xian Yun sneered and her eyes were covered with a layer of frost. She suddenly changed the topic. Why was that matter suddenly exposed? Why did the public opinion on the internet suddenly fall? Those people who have malicious intentions to lead public opinion are the most shameless. When Jian Yun said these words, Zhang Yang, who had been trembling with fear, felt like his scalp was going to explode. However, the few people in the living room, including Mu Fangfang, had a subtle expression on their faces. The atmosphere had a moment of stagnation. Liao Keiyu, who had always been like a fighting chicken, also did not make a sound. If Jian Yun was originally not sure, then... So by the time she saw the flickering eyes of these people, she was pretty sure she'd been exposed for aborted. Also, the news about her aborted suddenly spread on the internet. It definitely had something to do with the Liao family. The unbearable insults on the internet resounded in her mind once again. The anger in Jian Yun's heart surged like a tide. At the same time, a powerless sadness rose from the bottom of her feet. It was because she once again realized that when facing the powerful power of the Liao family, she did not even have the strength to resist. So, Jian Yun sneered. She wanted to say that the noble Liao family could do anything to achieve their goals. They could even do such a lowly and evil thing. They beat her half to death first. Then, they gave her a sweet date and wanted to get rid of her? However, Jian Yun's words were interrupted before she could finish. That's enough. Stop talking nonsense here. Liao Zhongli, who had been silent the whole time, suddenly slapped the wooden armrest of the sofa. He spoke with an unfriendly expression, and his sharp and cold gaze went straight to Jian Yun. I didn't call you here today to ask for your opinion, but to inform you that you have to agree to this matter even if you don't agree. Jian Yun bit her lips tightly, and a deep sense of humiliation wrapped around her. Her expression was already extremely ugly. The threat in Liao Zhongli's words was obvious. Xian Yun understood that he wanted her to give an answer today. Liao Zhongli was definitely the authority of Liao family. The moment he spoke, the entire place quieted down. No one dared to make a sound. They all knew that Liao Zhongli was in a bad mood right now. Despite his identity, he was dragged here to watch a joke between the juniors. How could he have a good expression? Amidst the deathly silence, Jian Yun suddenly felt that there was no meaning at all. If it wasn't for Hu Liancheng, do you think you have the right to bargain with us here? Don't forget, we have plenty of ways to get you to agree. Don't continue to challenge our patience. Liao Shigong also spoke. At this time, Granny Liao also wiped the corner of her eyes and said, Yun, just agree. Liancheng's heart is on you. Even if you don't have a title, you can still be the same as before. There won't be any changes. Listen to Grandma's advice. Don't be stubborn anymore. Otherwise. Granny Liao did not finish her sentence, but Jian Yun understood that she was reminding herself not to dream of going against the Liao family. They had plenty of ways to deal with her. Xian Yun lowered her eyes and tightly bit her lips. Her fingers had turned white and her face was extremely pale. Give it to her and let her sign. Liao Shigong's expression was gloomy, and he was clearly very impatient. Liao Keshin immediately picked up the agreement on the coffee table and handed it to Jian Yun. His eyes contained pity. When he saw that Jian Yun did not react, he could not help but whisper, "Take a look. It is different from the previous one." Jian Yun's eyelashes trembled. With just a glance, she found that this divorce agreement was indeed newly drafted. Compared to the previous one, the amount of money they gave her had doubled. The house had also changed from an ordinary commercial house to a villa. As long as she signed the divorce, she could immediately own tens of millions of assets. The condition was that she would hide in the dark for the rest of her life. She could not appear in front of the public at the same time as Hu Liancheng and could not admit that she was Hu Liancheng's woman. In short, the Liao family wanted to use money to buy her life. This was really a good idea. It would ruin her reputation and make her be despised by everyone. Then, it would force her to lower her head and make so-called concessions. This way, they could also appease Hu Liancheng. Xian Yun reached out and took the thin piece of paper. A faint light flashed in her eyes. The corner of her lips curled up and a strange smile appeared. So, in your eyes, Hu Liancheng is measured by this money. Liao Qi was shocked when he heard this. He subconsciously turned his head to look at Liao Zhongli and Liao Shigong. He did not know whether Jian Yun was really Hu Liancheng or not. Was he mad? How dare he taunt the two big shots of the Liao family? Sang Yong stood beside them, not daring to even fart. His face was paler than a ghost's. Sure enough, Liao Zhongli and Liao Shigong's expressions became even uglier. They were about to get angry. The conditions are indeed very good. At this time, Jian Yun raised the paper in her hand and smiled. I can sign it. But, when she said this, everyone heaved a sigh of relief and the tense atmosphere instantly eased. However, in their hearts, could it be that they were looking down on Jian Yun? Liao Kefeian and Liao Keiyu, who could not hide anything on their faces, had already let out a cold sneer. Shameless! When Liao Zhongli and Liao Shigong saw Jian Yun let go, the coldness between their brows faded a little. Who were they? The moment they heard Jian Yun's tone, they knew that she had conditions to raise. Liao Shigong gestured to Mu Fangfang. Mu Fangfang understood and turned to ask Xian Yun. Her tone softened a little. If you have any other requests, say them all together. As long as they are reasonable, we will satisfy them. I do not have any requests. Xian Yun's gaze swept across the crowd. Her eyes were as sharp as ice and snow. She extended her hand and smiled at Liao Qi. Brush me for a bit. Liao Qi heard Jian Yun agree to sign and could not believe it. He hesitantly handed the pen to Jian Yun and asked uncertainly, You? Jian Yun nodded and took the pen. Under everyone's nervous eyes, she calmly wrote her name at the bottom of the divorce agreement. After she finished writing, she did not even look at the pen and paper and handed it to Liao Qi. Then she stood up. Her gaze swept across the crowd and her cold eyes finally landed on Liao Zhongli's face. Xian Yun's eyes were deep and quiet, as calm as an ancient well. She took a deep breath. At the same time, she said in a deep voice, I've already signed the contract. As for the good intentions of the Liao family, I do not have the fortune to accept them. Please take them back. From now on, I have nothing to do with Hu Liancheng anymore. These words sounded like thunder in the sky, exploding in the already solemn ancestral mansion of the Liao family. Everyone was shocked, as if they could not believe it. Almost everyone's eyes gathered on the slender figure in the middle. Shock, doubt, and disbelief gathered into many probing eyes. Have you thought it through? After walking out of this door, there is no room for regret. Liao Qi cried out involuntarily, his face also unable to conceal the shock. Yun, don't be impulsive. Granny Liao suddenly stood up and said in a trembling voice, You and Liancheng have such a good relationship. Are you really going to let it go? Jian Yun. Sang Yang was already dumbstruck. I would rather die than die. Since I signed the contract, I will never go back on my word. Xian Yun said coldly with a proud tone. Xian Yun turned to Liao Zhongli after she finished speaking. She saw very clearly that Liao Zhongli was the absolute authority here. If she wanted to leave this place, she must get his permission. General Liao, can I leave now? Liao Zhongli did not say anything. His cold and sharp eyes were focused on Jian Yun's face. His dignified and domineering aura was released. You clearly know that Hu Liancheng has a deep affection for you. For you, he would rather shed all pretenses of cordiality with the Liao family. Now you are telling me that you would rather die than live in vain. How can I believe that you are not playing a game of capture and deception? That's right. You had promised to sign the contract earlier, and you still said that you would give an answer within a month. And the result? Who knows? Do you want to use the same trick again? Liao Ku sneered. I will give you another chance. It is not too late to go back on your words now. Liao Zhongli's eagle-like eyes were fixed on Jian Yun's face. A cold glint flickered in his eyes. No need? Jian Yun raised her eyebrows. The corner of her eyes slightly narrowed as she said in a deep voice, I think I have already said it very clearly. If you guys do not hear it clearly, I can repeat it again. At this time, she had already stood up. Her thin back was straight, like the proud snow bamboo on the mountain. Her cold arrogance was emitted from her bones. This kind of her was something that no one could ignore. Liao Qi stood beside Jian Yun and looked at her. Suddenly, his mind jumped out of his head. There is a kind of man who is born noble. He suddenly understood why Hu Liancheng fell in love with her. From today onwards, Hu Liancheng and I will no longer have anything to do with each other. However, before Jian Yun could finish her sentence, she was rudely interrupted by an angry voice. I do not agree. Almost in the blink of an eye, Hu Liancheng's face was full of anger, and his clothes were untidy. It was as if he had just broken out of the crowd. There were even wounds on the corner of his eyes. Why are you here? Liao Shigong suddenly stood up. There was a trace of nervousness on his face. General Liao, do you think you can trap me with just a few people? Hey, you underestimate me too much. Hu Liancheng's eyes were blood red. He was as furious as a ferocious beast. When he appeared, his aura actually shocked everyone in the Liao family. Liancheng, you are injured? Granny Liao's heart ached for Hu Liancheng the most. When she saw him, she quickly walked over. Hu Liancheng turned his head and dodged Granny Liao's hand. His eyes that were as cold as blades coldly fell on Granny Liao's face. He did not speak politely, Grandma. I trusted you so much. Is this how you treat me? Hu Liancheng pointed at the people of Liao family in the living room. In his anger, his expression turned ferocious. You actually helped them bully my wife. Granny Liao was stabbed by the pain in Hu Liancheng's eyes. She took a step back with a thud. Her eyes were sore and she wanted to say something. Her lips stuttered for a long time, but she could not say a word. Hu Liancheng, what kind of attitude is this? The situation is so bad now. You are not thinking about the big picture and still think about your son and daughter? Liao Zhongli suddenly slapped the armrest and stood up. He didn't seem angry. Liao Zhongli was tall and strong. His long military career gave him an intimidating and domineering aura. The younger generation of Liao family were not afraid of him. My own home is about to be torn apart by you. Do you want me to think about the big picture? Why? Hu Liancheng met Liao Zhongli's stern gaze coldly without any fear. Seeing that the atmosphere had become tense, and Liao Zhongli was about to explode with anger, Liao Qi quickly stepped out to mediate the situation. All right, Cousin Liancheng. Grandpa is right. You are right. Don't get too excited. Speak properly. As soon as Liao Qi spoke, Hu Liancheng immediately noticed the divorce agreement in his hand. He snatched it away without hesitation. With just a glance, he suddenly turned around and grabbed Jian Yun, who had been silent since he came in. Look at me. Hu Liancheng's face was full of injuries, and his eyes were bloodshot. He was almost shouting. Jian Yun's long eyelashes trembled violently. She lifted her eyes and looked at Hu Liancheng, who was in a rage. When she saw his eyes, which looked like an injured little beast, her fingers trembled violently. It was as if a piece of her heart had been cut off, and it hurt her heart. Didn't you say that you would never betray me and love me to believe in me? Then what is this? Hu Liancheng held the divorce agreement tightly. His eyes were red. Every time he saw Jian Yun's name, his heart hurt a little. No one dared to make a sound. Even Liao Zhongli was shocked by Hu Liancheng's appearance. He still underestimated Jian Yun's weight in Hu Liancheng's heart. Jian Yun's shoulder hurt from Hu Liancheng's grip, but she did not seem to feel it. Her face was pale. Her lips were pale and bloodless. She just stared at Hu Liancheng's eyes full of sadness and disappointment. In silence, she said, "If I love you, and have to use my pride as the price, I would rather never know you." "What do you mean?" Hu Liancheng's eyelids twitched abruptly. He stared fixedly at Jian Yun, and his expression revealed extreme fierceness. He was practically shouting and interrogating her. "What do you mean by using pride as a price? What do you mean by you would rather never know me?" The living room of the Liao family's patriarch's mansion was so quiet that one could hear a pin drop. Everyone's eyes were focused on Jian Yun and Hu Liancheng. If they were slightly shocked by Jian Yun's words, then Hu Liancheng's current attitude had shocked them. Hu Liancheng, who had always been cold and indifferent, who had always been calm and composed even when Mount Tai pressed down on him, actually had a day where he was so angry that he was about to go crazy. All of this was because of this woman in front of him? For a moment, the elders of the Liao family looked at Jian Yun with even more hostility. In their eyes, this woman had completely become Hu Liancheng's weakness. Apart from dragging him down, she had no effect on his life and career. "Tell me, what do you mean?" Jian Yun's silence made Hu Liancheng even more uneasy. He did not have time to care about others. He only grabbed Jian Yun's shoulder and stared at her coldly. His eyes were burning with anger. Jian Yun's shoulder was hurt by Hu Liancheng's grip, but she did not show any expression on her face. She only looked at Hu Liancheng quietly. Her dark eyes were like an ancient well. She said calmly, I regret meeting you. I regret marrying you. I regret falling in love with you." "No." Hu Liancheng felt as if someone had punched him in the heart. He took a few steps back and the blood on his face instantly faded. Liao Qi and Zhang Yang hurried forward, but they were shocked by Hu Liancheng's fierce eyes. They immediately retracted their hands. Jian Yun's expression was still calm. Her deep eyes were like an unfathomable pool of water. They gave off traces of cold air. Although her eyes landed on Hu Liancheng's face, her eyes seemed to have swept past him and drifted into the distance. "Let's divorce." After saying this, Jian Yun no longer hesitated and turned around to leave, completely ignoring the dumbstruck Hu Liancheng. Jian Yun did not dare to look at Hu Liancheng. She was afraid that she would regret it. No one knew that at this moment, every step she took was like walking on the tip of a knife. Her heart was bleeding. "Divorce? Have you forgotten what we signed? Don't even think about getting a divorce in your lifetime." Seeing Jian Yun walk to the door, Hu Liancheng suddenly exploded. He rushed over, grabbed her, and strode outside. Jian Yun staggered due to his rude actions. Liao Qi hurriedly supported her by the side to prevent her from falling. "Hu Liancheng, stop right there." Liao Shigong immediately stood up and shouted. Hu Liancheng acted as if he did not hear anything. He did not even turn his head back. "Chase after him. Bring that bastard back." Liao Zhongli was so angry that his face turned black. Liao Qi, Liao Kefeian, and Zhang Yang quickly chased after him. "Liancheng, where are you going? Come back here." Granny Liao was anxious and chased after Liancheng. "Liancheng, don't be so impulsive." Liao Qi saw Hu Liancheng opening the door of the car and pushed Jian Yun into the car with a pale face. Jian Yun did not even have the strength to resist. He rushed over and tried to stop her. However, Hu Liancheng ignored him. "You bastard. Isn't she just a woman? Hurry up and go back and admit your mistakes to your grandfather. Don't be stubborn. What is there to miss about this woman? The moment she sees so much money, she has already signed a divorce agreement. If you have some backbone, quickly kick her." Liao Kefeian's temper was simple and fiery. He did not think as much as Liao Qi and subconsciously hated Jian Yun. So when he saw how crazy Hu Liancheng was, he immediately grabbed Hu Liancheng and threw a punch at him. Fortunately, Zhang Yang stopped him. The punch still hit Hu Liancheng's mouth. "Why did you stop me?" Liao Kefeian was furious. He waved Zhang Yang away with his palm and punched at Hu Liancheng's chest. Hu Liancheng had not fully recovered from his injuries. He had been exhausted during this period of time. Before he came, he was stopped by someone sent by Liao Shigong. He had only managed to break through with all his strength. How could he still defend against Liao Kefeian, who was a special forces soldier? He was about to be punched in the chest. Jian Yun turned around and saw Liao Kefeian's fist smashing towards Hu Liancheng. She was so shocked that her heart almost stopped beating. She couldn't help but scream and subconsciously wanted to rush over. "You are crazy. Don't you know his body can't take it?" Liao Qi reacted quickly. As soon as Liao Kafeian's fist brushed past him, he grabbed Liao Kafeian's fist and roared angrily. Liao if you dare to stop me, I will beat you up. Liao Kafeian glared at him with a ferocious expression. Liao Qi naturally wouldn't let Liao Kafeian beat Hu Liancheng up. He immediately started fighting with Liao Kafan. These two brothers were both from the special forces. They had been training in the field army all year round, and their fighting skills were no joke. Immediately, they saw their fists hitting flesh, and they looked like tigers and tigers. The other disciples of the Liao family who came with Liao Kafeian and Liao Qi hurriedly went to fight. This time, Hu Liancheng became a supporting role. It was just that the punch he received from Liao Kafeian wasn't light. He bent his waist and supported the car with one hand. He didn't straighten up for a long time. In the chaos, Jian Yun wanted to get off the car, but Zhang Yang tried his best to stop her. He had long seen that Jian Yun was not in good condition. She must have not recovered yet. In such a chaotic situation, it would not be good if she was hurt. You two bastards, stop. Granny Liao, who had rushed out, looked at the chaotic situation in front of her and shouted angrily. Liao Kafeian and Liao Qi exchanged another punch before they were pulled away. They were still staring at each other like they were fighting a chicken. Hu Liancheng also straightened his back at this time. His fingers brushed the corner of his mouth and wiped away the blood. Liancheng, how are you? Granny Liao saw the blood on the corner of Hu Liancheng's mouth and was so shocked that she almost lost her soul. She walked over a few steps and was about to pull him into the house. You haven't recovered yet. Why are you injured again? Come in quickly and let the doctor take a look. Grandma, you disappoint me. Hu Liancheng brushed away Granny Liao's hand. His cold eyes swept across everyone's faces. Then, under everyone's shocked eyes, he turned to the other side and opened the car door. Zhang Yang had been blocking the front passenger's side all this time. At this time, he also moved aside. Granny Liao Qi, and the rest saw Jian Yun, who was staring at Hu Liancheng with a pale face and a dazed look on her face. At this moment, Granny Liao's heart was also trembling. When Hu Liancheng said those words earlier, the pain and disappointment in his eyes made her feel ashamed. After Hu Liancheng got into the car, he did not immediately drive. Instead, he closed his eyes and leaned back on the seat. His clothes were all messed up and his face was also injured, but he still had the same cold temperament that came from birth. Liao Kafeian was anxious. He stepped forward and knocked on the door. Hu Liancheng, get off the car. You are not allowed to leave.